Hi, it's Sandy. Good morning to you. Hope everybody's doing great. We're here this morning because we're going to be talking about listening. Listening in a better way. Have you ever felt the pain and frustration of a conversation that went badly? If you have, then maybe we can learn how to listen better. Listen in a better way. If you really want your important relationships to be better, you have to learn the skill of listening better than what you're doing right now. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, if you're watching me on my YouTube channel, please make sure you click subscribe and then you hit the little bell button so that you get all my notifications whenever I get a new video. But how to listen better. How do you make your relationships better by listening? So let me ask you a question or two first of all. How are you listening? And I say this because I'm guilty, okay? And maybe you're guilty. Let's check it out and see. First of all, right now, are you looking at me or are you doing something else? Are you multitasking? You know, that's from the 80s. That's not from today. We have discovered that does not work. Sometimes when we listen, we really are not paying attention. Are you paying attention right now? Do you see my eyes? Are you talking to me? Have you ever said that to your kids? So are you listening even right now, or are you trying to do two things? First time, you might be able to get away with kind of being distracted. But when it comes to important decisions, important conversations, you have to be all in. You have to be engaged. You have to have eye contact. You have to be listening. So also, are you on your phone now? If you're on your phone right now, I understand that because you're watching me, right? On your phone. But if you're talking to someone, are you distracted? Are you doing something on your phone? Are you thinking about something on your phone rather than being present to the moment with the person who's important to you that you're talking to? Or are you just rushed? Are you in a rush when you're listening? We're talking about listening this morning. We're talking about being a better listener and therefore having better relationships. Are you listening? Are you rushed? Do you have your own agenda? This is what I have found many times in my life. Rather than really listening and hearing the other person's point of view, you know what I'm doing? Maybe what you're doing is we just want them to come up for air so that we can tell them our reply. We don't really care what they think. Anybody? Send me some likes below. Send me some comments below because, hey, you know what? We're all human. Life happens, and sometimes this is how we act. When we're supposed to be listening, we're really just waiting for them to hush so we can let them come up for air so we can tell them what we think. We're not really listening. So let's take a deep breath. Okay, we take a deep breath. We're going to talk about listening this morning. How many of you like to talk? How many of you have an opinion? How many of you know your opinion counts, that it matters? You're a smart person. People need to listen to you. Are you like that? Do you hear me? Is that what you're thinking? Absolutely. Your voice does matter. Your opinion does count. But when it gets the time for you to be heard, you have to listen in order to get to be heard. So, hey Regina, yes, this is live this morning. This is brand new. Good to see you on the Facebook Live. So, this is what I have learned, and I want to tell you a personal experience that happened to me yesterday. My family's famous for calling family meetings. And so when we need to have a meeting, we just call a meeting. Now that my kids are older, they're all, adults and they have their own families. They kind of have to call a meeting if we need to have a discussion. They are their own people. Mike and I are our own people. So we jointly decide if we need to have a kind of a discussion between us. So yesterday we had a situation where there were three of us at the table in my kitchen, in my living room, in my dining area. And we know how to listen. We've been taught how to listen and we practice how to listen. But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. Have you ever been in a conversation where you were trying to listen, you thought you were listening, but you really weren't following good listening rules, which I'm going to tell you what they are in just a second. So this is what happened. Three people around the table yesterday talking, having a conversation, and we got a little bit out of hand. We forgot the rules. We forgot how to be good listeners. And this is what happened. So one person, as the discussion was going on, did this. Like, I am totally exasperated. Lord, help me. What are y'all talking about? Okay, that's not being a good listener. The other person was this. That's not being a good listener either. Okay, 1 strike, 2 strikes. And so the other person, rather than being a good listener, they were cutting up jokes. They thought they were making the conversation easier, more interesting or lively or whatever, but they were cutting up, trying to make light of everything, making jokes. Guess what? All 3 of the people around the table were not listening really well. So I want to talk to you about what we fixed it. We realized we weren't using really good conversational skills, and so we fixed it. We corrected each other. We said, okay, this is what you're doing, and that's not appropriate. This is what you're doing, and that's not appropriate. This is what you're doing, that's not appropriate. So we all self-corrected, and so I'm going to tell you about a listening skill that you can do. First of all, when someone is talking, you just need to shut up. Now, I will tell you, in my family growing up, shut up was like a curse word. You could not say it. Because my kids, I did not want them telling people to shut up. I did not tell my kids to shut up. But you know what we're doing this morning? We just kind of talking to us adults right here. And sometimes we just got to be real. And we just have to tell ourselves, you know what? You need to shut up and just listen. It's time to hush. Quit talking. Listen. 1 mouth, 2 ears. It's time to listen. So one of the things that you could do as you are wanting to be a better listener is you have to hush. Quit talking and even quit thinking about what you want to say. If you need to get a piece of paper, write notes so you don't forget to say stuff when it's your turn. That's great. But you got to quit having a ready statement to reply, and you have to quit interrupting. You just have to hush. You have to hush. This is what happens when you don't hush and listen. The other person does not feel valued. When you want to have good listening skills, you have to hush. You have to listen. You have to be quiet. Because when the other person does not feel like they are heard, they feel like they are not important. They feel like you don't care about me. I don't have any value in your eyes because you will not even listen to what is on my heart and the things that I'm trying to say. That's how they feel. Now, that might not be how you're trying to make them feel. Maybe you don't even realize that's how you're making them feel. But guess what? That's how you're making them feel. When you do not listen to a person when it's an important conversation and you're doing other stuff and you're on your phone and you're interrupting, they feel very disrespected. They feel very minimized. They feel very undervalued. They feel like you do not care about them. Now, that is a high price to pay for you, a person in a conversation that you want to be heard, but you're failing to listen to the person who is on this important conversation with you. So when you listen, what happens? When you listen with an open heart, not judging, just really seeking to understand, not having a ready answer because I'm ready for you to come up for air so I can tell you my answer. No, but instead to say, I'm listening. I want to hear your heart. I want to hear what you say. It's important to me. I value who you are. I value what you have to say. Now, this is the thing. Because you're listening does not mean that you have total agreement with what they say. To be a listener does not mean I've already now succumbed. I have to be the obedient one in the conversation. I have to submit to whatever they're saying. No, that is not accurate. To be a listener simply means that you have an open mind and that you're listening because you care about them and because their opinion does count. What they have to say does matter. They are important to you. And when you fail to listen, you're telling them exactly the opposite of that. You're not important. I do not value what you have to say. You're not valuable to me. I don't care about you. You just need to shut up and listen to me. There you go. So the truth comes out. So instead, we have to say, quiet, open heart, listening, seeking to understand. Now, this is the greatest skill I can tell you is this one thing. When you have an open heart and you're listening, and they said something and you think that you understood what they have to say, you have to tell yourself, I probably didn't understand that. Now, you think you're a good listener, right? Well, but perhaps you did not understand what they said. This has been the predominant theme in my life when I've learned how to be a better listener, and I started being a better listener. As they're talking, you can say, may I ask you a question? Ask permission. And they can say, no, I need to get finished. Then shut up and let them finish. But if they say, yes, go ahead and ask me a question. Say, now, I think this is what I think I heard, and I want to make sure I heard it correctly. So you said this, and this is what you mean. Did I get that right? And you know what they'll tell you half of the time? No, that's not what I meant. Now, see, that's why you have to ask the next question. You have to clarify and make sure that what you heard, you present it to make sure you really did hear it the right way. Because what we humans do is we are very imperfect. We don't communicate perfectly. We don't listen perfectly. So when you kind of ask them, this is what I think I heard, did I hear it correctly, and is this what you meant? You give them a chance to say, no, well, that's kind of what I said, but that's not really what I meant. If you will ask questions, you will find out that what you think they said is not what they said. And even if they said it, it's not what they meant. And what it does is it diffuses the situation, and it gives you an opportunity to really listen better. Now they know that you're listening. You heard what they said, you repeated it back to them, and either you got it, or you didn't get it, or they didn't say it correctly, and they'll fix it. Do you know how valued that makes a person feel? Do you know the emotional deposit you have put into that person's emotional bank account just for you to be a listener? Every important decision you have, every important relationship that you have needs to have you listening to the conversations, not waiting for them to come up with air so you can interrupt, not you being distracted and being on your phone and looking at TV while they're trying to talk to you. No, it's you being focused, listening to such a degree that you're open and you can ask them a question about what they said. Now, do you kind of get surprised by this, that people don't say what they mean? Well, we're just humans. That's what we do. It's normal. It doesn't mean anything except that it's just a human way that we live and we talk. Now, let me say this. It is worth it for you to shift and become a good listener. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. Because better relationships, love, kindness, and to get understanding. So many times in my life, I have asked my husband, this is what I heard you say. Did I get that right? And he'll say, no, that's not what I meant at all. And say, well, okay, well, I must have misunderstood. Can you say it again? Because it's important to me how you feel. I want to get it. And so he will start it again. And I say, I'm sorry, just say it again. I want to get it. It's important to me what you're saying. They will say it again. You are making such big emotional bank accounts. Now, let me remind you, it doesn't mean when you decide you're going to listen with an open heart, you're not going to have a ready answer. You're going to listen, to seek, to understand. When you do that, that person now feels so valued. They feel heard. They feel respected. They feel that their voice matters. They count in this relationship. One last thing. If you say, I'm not going to listen, I think I listen fine, then maybe you need to do a self-evaluation that you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to the important relationships in your life if you are not willing to grow and get better yourself, because somebody's got to get better in the conversation. Usually 2 people do not get better at the same time. One person gets better, and as they get better, the other person wants to get better. So shift. Good listening equals great relationships. And better listening means better relationships. So shift today. Much love. And listen, remember, like below, comment below. If somebody has a good post below, like their post, respond back to them. And please, on Facebook, go to my Facebook, on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the little bell, click the red subscribe button and ring the little bell. And that way, when I get a new Every Sunday morning message, when I put it back on there on a Sunday night, you'll get a notification about it. So much love to you. Have a great day, and let's be good listeners. Bye.